I'll just start with a very short introduction so you don't need to start interpreting yet. I'm just going to set the scene a bit. So speech is completely fictional. I made it up completely. I am pretending that I am the British Minister for Education in 2030, by which point Britain is back in the EU. And I'm presenting a pilot project to get children learning modern languages in Britain. This project is completely fictional, so don't worry if you haven't heard about it because it doesn't exist anywhere but in my own head. Anyway, with that being said, I will start. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, parents, guardians, students, I would like to start by saying that as I stand here today to inaugurate our Polish teaching programme here at Ormskirk School, I am filled with an immense and genuine pride, because this school has a very special place in my heart. It was here that I studied. It was here that I sat my GCSEs and A-levels. This school formed me. It shaped me, it inspired me, and it contributed to making me the person that I am today. And now this school is taking an enormous leap forwards. Today, as I said, we are inaugurating our Polish teaching programme. This will give all students of all year groups the chance to study Polish from scratch. They can take the GCSEs if they want to. They can take the A-level in Polish if they want to. And they will also be studying Polish alongside another more mainstream European language, one of either French, Spanish or German. This is part of a pilot project which we put in place recently. This project involves offering specific and targeted foreign language teaching to all secondary school children, in addition to the three mainstream European languages that are already compulsory: French, Spanish and German. When our government came to power, we realised that there was a massive untapped potential up and down this country. We are so lucky, we are so fortunate, because we have these wonderfully diverse communities. We have people from all different backgrounds, people from different countries, ethnicities and cultures living here. And we thought, what if we facilitate the spreading, the exchange of cultures and languages? What if we facilitate the exchange of unique perspectives and wonderful cultures so that all of our young people can benefit from the treasure trove that this diversity would bring? And what if we can make migrants and refugees feel more welcome in our country, just simply by making them feel like their cultures are warmly embraced over here in Britain? So it started as a little question in the back of our minds, and then it came to the front of our minds. And then that little question grew into an explosion of exciting ideas and proposals. Now here in the Northwest, there is a significant Polish-speaking community. And we thought, why not unlock the great potential of this diversity? I mean, if we give young people the opportunity to learn Polish, this will help the migrant community here feel more welcome, more represented, more included. And it will also enrich our young people. It will give them access to a beautiful and fascinating culture through learning this language which will be yet another skill in their professional toolbox. Not far away from here, in Bolton, there is a big Turkish-speaking community, and we are doing exactly the same thing there. All secondary school children in Bolton will have the opportunity to learn Turkish in addition to either French, Spanish or German. In Manchester, we are doing the same with Hebrew and Yiddish on account of the significant Israeli population. In London, we are getting schools to offer Arabic and Russian. All of this stems from two main ideas, which I would like to briefly delve into. Firstly, we believe in creating more harmony and more social cohesion. We believe that, yes, it is the responsibility of those who come to this country to integrate, to settle, to respect our values and laws. But do not we have a responsibility? Is it simply the migrants' responsibility to integrate? I think not. I believe that we have a responsibility to help migrants integrate, to help them feel welcome, to make them feel wanted here, to make them feel safe. We want to ensure that they don't have to deal with discrimination and racism and xenophobia or prejudice of any kind. Because these people are human beings as well, and their cultures and their languages are part of their identity just as much as our culture and our language are part of ours. In 2016, as you know, 52% of the British population of voting age voted to leave the EU. What ensued, as you know, was a horrific series of xenophobic attacks. We had hooligans in the streets attacking people from different ethnicities and backgrounds, calling on them to go home, that they weren't wanted here. We don't have any pretensions about this. We don't claim that this pilot project will completely resolve all the problems to do with racism and xenophobia overnight. But this project is about breaking down barriers, whether they be cultural or linguistic in nature. After all, I think we can say that racism and xenophobia are often the product of this fear of the unknown. Let's be honest, racism and xenophobia are rooted in ignorance, plain and simple. It is because people fear the unknown, fear languages or cultures and countries that are different to them, people that are different to them, that they then resort to prejudice and hatred. This project aims to counter that because we believe that languages are a bridge and a tool to breaking down these barriers which are so unhelpful. Now, as you know, when Britain voted to leave the EU in 2016, we closed our borders. We closed our borders to migrants and refugees. But we did more than just close our borders. We closed our hearts as well. And that is unacceptable. We closed our hearts because of this false idea, the false desire to regain sovereignty, this hearkening back to an idealized past, which, let's be honest, never existed. We did all this in the name of sovereignty. But in so doing, we really hurt ourselves. We shot ourselves in the foot, and I will now explain why. We lost part of this wonderful diversity, this variety that makes the world such a fascinating and colourful and beautiful and exciting place. We lost so much of that richness, that learning, that knowledge, those fresh perspectives that multiculturalism entails. And this leads me to my second point. We have put in place this pilot scheme because we strongly believe that our young people deserve to benefit from the wealth of cultures and languages that are represented in our country. We believe that teaching children languages enables them to open doors, open opportunities. It provides them with opportunities in terms of finding jobs, traveling abroad, living abroad, and making friends with people from other communities. I'm reminded of a famous saying by Ludwig Wittgenstein, who said that the limits of my language mean the limits of my world. So let's push back those limits, because we push back those limits with every language that we learn. Now, as a young teenager, I learned Spanish, and this opened up a whole new continent to me, a whole new continent, the continent of Latin America. All of a sudden, learning Spanish made Latin America accessible to me. It made the literature, the cultures of that beautiful continent accessible to me. And all of a sudden, there was this treasure trove of perspectives that was open to me that I hadn't known about beforehand. Now, I was lucky, but I want our young people to have these opportunities. I want our young people to have the opportunity to grow an extra soul. Because yes, as Charlemagne said, to have another language is to possess another soul. When you learn another language, that language becomes part of you. And if you really fall in love with it, that culture then becomes part of you as well. And it creates this new and exciting dimension to your identity, to who you are. So thus, learning languages gives us access to different parts of the world. We can find out how other people think. We can get a taste for different countries and cultures. We can imbibe new ideas. For example, the children in this school will have the access to learn Polish. Learning Polish as an English native speaker is an incredibly rare opportunity and one that we want to bestow upon our young people. So now I've explained why we are putting in place this pilot project, I would like to describe the project now. What we did was we looked at different regions around the UK. We looked at their demands. We looked at how many speakers of particular languages are in different communities. We then went about training thousands of Polish, Turkish, Arabic, Hebrew, Yiddish and Russian speaking migrants. We trained them in language teaching. Now, this will have the effect of reducing unemployment, the unemployment rate among migrant communities, but it will also allow us to offer more language learning to secondary school students. We plan to open up this opportunity to all secondary school students from year 7 right up until year 13. But let me be clear, this is a voluntary project, so students will not have to learn another language, but it will be voluntary. That being said, it will not be seen as an extracurricular activity. So learning Polish, for example, in this school, will be part of the school hours. As you know, our GCSE and A-level systems are credit-based systems. That means that if you do take part in learning Polish in this school, or Turkish or Russian, for example, the fact that you have attended those classes will contribute to the amount of credits you get at GCSE and A-level. So this is part of our wider strategy, as I said, because we have a strategy in this government, that of revolutionising language learning. We want to make the teaching of foreign languages compulsory in all primary schools and all secondary schools. We want languages to have the same status as other subjects such as science and maths. For too long, they have been neglected and forgotten about in our school curriculums. So we want to ensure that classes are held in these languages. We want to make it compulsory for every secondary school student to take a foreign language at GCSE level. And we also want to widen our pool of resources. And we want to give students the opportunities to go on trips to other countries as well, so that they can feel that their languages that they are learning will help them in practical ways. So in conclusion, what are we saying? Well, we're talking here about putting the dark days of Brexit behind us. We're saying yes to multiculturalism. We're saying yes to multilingualism. And we're saying yes to the diversity that enriches all of our lives. Thank you for listening, and I will take any questions that you might have.